Greetings. In this video, I want to take an ever so brief look at an interesting Talmudic passage about a patrilineal Edomite who was king over the Jews. I was actually discussing this story earlier today with a friend, and he found the story fascinating, so I thought it might be worth making a very quick video about this text. So on your screen is a page of Talmud Bavli, or the Babylonian Talmud, tractate Sota, 41a, and you can also find this story in Talmud Yerushalmi, which is to say the Jerusalem Talmud, as both of them are quoting the story from the Mishnah. It's actually a story from the Mishnah. Now, to explain the structure of the page that you see on your screen, this main block of text is the Talmudic text. The columns to the left and the right of that block are commentaries on that text. And this column on the right side of the page is the commentary of Rashi, which will wind up winding or bending around the Talmudic text when we get to the bottom of the page, as you'll see in a moment. And with that explained, we can now zero in on the relevant story. So it begins right here by saying Agrippas hamilech, Agrippus the king, and this is referring to Agrippa, who was king over Judea in the first century. This is, he was king of the Jews or king over the Jews, and he descended from Herod. And farther back from that, he descended from Edomites who were forcibly converted under Hyrcanus, under John Hyrcanus. So this king over the Jews was patrilineally an Edomite. And so the text says, Agrippas hammelech amad וקבל וקרא עומד. Agrippas the king stood and received. It means he received a Torah scroll is the implication. And he read while standing. ושבחוהו חכמים, and the sages praised him. And on a side note, by the way, that verb, shibhu, they praised, is from the same root as the popular Arabic phrase, subhanallah, praise God. But anyway, so far we have Agrippas, the patrilineally Edomite king over the Jews, reading from the Torah scroll and receiving praise from the Jewish sages and attendants who are listening to him as he recites from the Torah. And then it says, וכשהגיע, and when he reached to, so it's describing a point he reached in the scroll, and then it quotes the relevant text. לא תוכל לתת עליך איש נכרי, you are not allowed to set up over you a foreign man. And that's a quote from Deuteronomy 17:15, and it's referring to the establishment of a king. So what happened when Agrippas reached that point of the text? Zalgו, עיניו דמעות, tears flowed from his eyes, or his eyes started flowing with tears. And in short, he started crying. Right here we have a king over the Jews who descends from Edomites patrilineally. So he started crying because he felt that the text that he just read from the Torah disqualified him as king. But then look what the text says. Amru lo, they said to him, or the sages that were just mentioned said to him, Al tityare Agrippas, don't cry Agrippas. Achinu ata, you are our brother. You are our brother. Now, that's interesting because you have a Talmudic text which records Talmudic sages explicitly treating the descendant of Edomite converts as their brother and insinuating that Deuteronomy 17:15 does not disqualify him from being king, as apparently that part which read Asher lo achinahu, who is not your brother, in their mind does not apply to him, as according to those sages, he is in some sense their brother. He is in fact their brother. Now, there are a couple of ways to make sense of that. One way is to assume that the conversion of his ancestors was considered enough to make him fully part of Israel, and the verse, does not apply to him in that way because the conversion of his ancestors was legitimate. But this is why I mentioned and pointed out the commentary of Rashi earlier, as Rashi comments on this text and offers a different explanation. Noting in the bold text, the portion which read, Achinu ata, you are our brother, Rashi comments, She'imo me Yisrael, as his mother was from Israel. In short, rather than argue for the legitimacy of the conversion of Agrippas' ancestors, Rashi treats this text as alluding to the legitimacy of matrilineal descent in determining who is part of Israel. Now, personally, I don't know if Rashi's explanation accurately reflects the reasoning of the Talmudic sages who reassured Agrippas, but it is at least possible, and thus it would seem, if that is the case, to place the emphasis on matrilineal descent quite early in history, back to the first century. But with that, I'll close this video here. As I alluded to at the start of the video, I just wanted to document this interesting story. As always, comments, questions, and objections are always welcome, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section, and God bless.